It is 10:30 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, early in November 2015. In the inner harbor of Victoria, BC, the Black Ball ferry pulls away from its dock before heading out into the Strait of Juan de Fuca between Vancouver Island and the American mainland. It will be a 90-minute crossing to Port Angeles, Washington. On board the ferry is a man named Harold Backer.
He's so smart that he could plan a whole new life in a whole new country, in a whole new language.
Backer is a Canadian sports hero, 3-time Olympian. For rowing in Canada, virtually a household name, and about to get even more so. Because in an hour and a half, when he steps onto U.S. soil, Harold Backer will simply disappear, along with millions of dollars and the trust of his friends. Harold Backer had told his wife he was going for a bike ride in Victoria. But on the ferry, his bicycle is fully loaded with camping gear. More suspicious, he brought his passport, but not his cell phone, now untrackable by GPS. The last that's known about Harold Backer comes from a Victoria couple who chatted with him on the ferry to Port Angeles. They asked about his bike and where he was going. They say he told them he was headed south towards Seattle, but hadn't chosen an exact route yet. They describe him as being very pleasant and very relaxed. That was November the 3rd, 2015. Harold Backer hasn't been heard from since. To understand why Harold Backer would disappear and why it's hit those close to him so hard, you've got to understand the almost monk-like ethos of world-class rowers like Backer. It's a calling Harold Backer heard when he was barely a teen at the Brentwood College School in Mill Bay, BC. His first coach there was Tony Carr. Carr recalls a young man so talented, he competed at the legendary Royal Henley Regatta in England in just his second year of rowing.
That's how good he was in the 10th grade. He had started to fill out and was a little more substantial in form, and he was showing that he had a real natural ability at the sport.
And Harold Backer was also a natural student.
A great intellect, and that's the thing. Like many rowers, they're among the top 10%, 20% of scholars at the university.
Olympic caliber while still in high school, Backer and Carr would remain a team.
In lane 3, Canada, the team of Harold Backer, Tony's
athlete and coach all the way to the Olympic Games.
This is a very young crew. Harold Backer, just 22.
His high school career was exceptional. His university career was exceptional. He got an MBA after that in graduate school. Then his career as an athlete was exceptional.
We have got a great race going here. The stroke is Harold Backer from Ladysmith, BC.
But even exceptional athletic careers must come to an end.
They are turning it on. Canada is going to take third. Canada goes through to the semifinals.
The 1992 Games, his third Olympics, would be his last. After Barcelona, Harold Backer finally put down his oars. Just 30, the Princeton-educated Backer had options. But the hometown boy chose to return to the staff at Brentwood, the boarding school where it all began, with a prolific Olympic record touted by none other than Rick Mercer.
If this high school was a country in terms of overall medal count, they would have placed 54th out of 200 nations competing at the Beijing Olympics. And all of those medals are in rowing.
In class or on the water, Backer was the strong, silent type, 6'3", quiet, smart, and commanding, as Rick Mercer learned when he joined his crew.
So hands
Hang
on the boat.
What do I do?
Well, you listen to my commands first, and this is it's not
my high suit. Does this go over our head?
Yes, it does. And
then we hold it up.
In fact, part of the commands are over the heads, ready up.
He was undeniably a man who inspired respect and trust.
Pushing in 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good, Rick. Good. So when Backer announced he was going to branch out into a career as an investment advisor, not on Wall Street, but in Mill Bay, BC, no one doubted he would succeed at that too.
I want to see constant motion, the blade going to the bow and in.
His coach, Tony Carr, was among the first to sign up.
Loose at the handle. The thing that really surprised me was he seemed to be happy to live in the backwoods, in Mill Bay or Shawnigan Lake, which is very country Canada, and be very, very happy to live there and to set up a business here in a small little village almost.
Building on that trust, over the next 2 decades, Harold Backer put together a select investment clientele, helping friends, colleagues, and former teammates to achieve their financial goals.
If you had decided to come to BC and you met me and you said, who do you think would you recommend to manage my accounts? I said, I know this guy, Harold Backer. And I would have said that to you. I had that faith in him.
The Canadian crew is in lane 2, and Harold Backer from Ladysmith is in the 4 position in the...
Indeed, there seemed just one void in that life of accomplishment. Harold Backer had come home empty-handed from each of his 3 Olympic Games.
The U.S. win it, so a bit of a disappointing race for the Canadian crew.
For us, being on the team would be one of the wonders of the world. But for him, possibly not making a medal was a huge disappointment. But he never showed that. He never voiced that disappointment, ever.
Fellow Canadian Olympian Adam Creek did win gold in 2008 at Beijing.
It's going to be gold for Canada.
But Creek understands how the unrealistic expectations of oneself or others could put pressure on former elite athletes like Harold Backer.
People say, oh, that guy was an Olympian. It's a mini badge of honor, but at the same point in time, it also creates an element of pressure and expectations. You're striving for excellence in sport, so then you're expected to strive for excellence in the rest of your life.
But Backer never seemed to be bothered by that in his post-Olympic years, appearing to excel publicly and privately. He gave back to his school and his sport. Divorced, he was remarried with 3 handsome children. As an investment advisor, he had a reputation for carefully guiding his clients through turbulent economic waters.
The numbers kept on saying that there's modest improvement all the time. At no time is it like some of these other rip-off artists where they're promising 15, 20%. Nothing like that, ever.
Nor was there even a hint of exorbitant spending or a lavish lifestyle.
And I know some of these sort of high-flying frauds have taken hundreds of millions of dollars and have lived like kings. He didn't do that.
What he did was keep rowing. At 52, a member of the Old Man Rowing Club outside Victoria.
He seemed to just love being on the water, continuing with what he had done at the highest level, while he was at a very, very much more modest level.
So no doubts about Harold Backer, at least not yet. There'd be more than enough to come. In the fall of 2015, he was once again out with the Old Man Rowing Club. But fellow Olympian Adam Creek sensed something was wrong. When they'd spoken recently, Backer didn't seem his dependably confident self.
Harold kind of came up and was like, well, not all of us can be as positive as you. Just projecting the general mood of the blues. I thought it was unusual at the time. I'd not seen that side of Harold before.
What they didn't know yet, but were about to find out, is that within 24 hours, none of them would see Harold Backer again. The next morning, he was on the 10:30 a.m. ferry to the U.S. And before long, Tony Carr got the phone call.
Another rowing coach phoned me and said, do you know Harold's missing? And as soon as I heard that, I thought, So was my money. Nobody in that money business disappears for other reasons. They don't disappear for any other reason except money.
But how could that possibly be? The faithful friend, the trusted teammate, the brilliant man who'd taken such loving care of their money and them for so long. Some of his rowing pals couldn't bring themselves to believe the worst. Not yet. They organized a search party, hoping to find him somewhere in Washington state, perhaps lost or injured on his bike.
When they were over there, I think they got a call saying, don't bother continue looking, because Harold's really gone.
Really gone, they knew, because after he left, his clients received this letter from Harold Backer, apparently mailed just before boarding the ferry.
I will never be able to fix the colossal mistake I made when my market-based funds lost between 25 and 45% of their market value in the dot-com crash.
It is a remarkable mea culpa in a financial fraud.
My mistake was not telling my investors about the loss. I realized there is no way in my lifetime I could pay it back to my investors. I've done a terrible thing to my friends. I'm deeply and truly sorry for the effects of my poor decisions.
It turns out he was paying one investor with funds from another, a classic pyramid scheme.
If admitting to fraud would help restore the losses, I would accept the criminal penalty.
You gotta know.
For those whose money was gone, there was no longer a reason to trust Harold Backer. For 75-year-old Tony Card was his retirement fund, along with an inheritance from the recent death of his wife's mother.
Between the money that I had and the money that she had, it's $787,000.
Someone you've known for so long and trusted for so long has done something terrible.
I feel that I have been kicked, absolutely kicked in the
You can say
groin.
it.
Yeah, kicked in the balls. I was sickened by it. How could I be so wrong? And how could so many other people be so wrong? We trusted him.
Nick Prowse is also a former Brentwood teacher who's known Backer since he was a 10th grader. Now 80, a big chunk of Prowse's retirement savings, is gone as well. May I ask how much that was in all?
$375,000.
As to whether they'd ever see that money again, Backer left them with just a hint of hope.
I have a Transamerica life insurance policy with a face value of $1,500,000. This amount is to be divided among my investors in a prorated fashion. Thank you for your undeserved friendship. I am eternally sorry for my financial decisions.
At first, Prowse and others thought that meant Backer had committed suicide to try to make amends. But no body has been found, and Prowse now thinks that might well be just another lie.
You know, I can't believe that somebody of Harold's intelligence could make such a mess of financial things, by accident.
In all, when he boarded that ferry from Victoria, Harold Backer left behind 15 clients, including his own brother, who'd invested a total of about $3 million, which he strongly implies is now all lost. His family fears Harold Backer is lost too, posting a plaintive plea on Facebook. Please, pray for Harold. The authorities are doing more than that. No charges have been laid, but there have been 3 investigations into Backer and his business by the Victoria Police, the BC Securities Commission, and the RCMP. Yet somehow, there still are clients who can't help blaming themselves.
I guess I was naive too, because he was a good friend and I assumed that he had my best interests at heart.
Well, why would that be naivety to trust someone you knew for years?
Yes, I know, but I agree. If you can't trust a friend, who can you trust?
The last we know of Harold Backer, he was leaving the ferry in Port Angeles, Washington, caught here by American security cameras, seemingly gaining speed, headed south. Many of his clients believe he may still have some, perhaps a lot, of their money.
I would just love to have my money back. Please, just give me my money back. I could even wish him good luck in his new life and his new venture, whatever that may be, but don't come back and see me. Just send me the money.